The Hellraiser universe returns with a project designed to push horror games into the territory most studios refuse to approach. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival brings first-person survival horror into a realm shaped directly by Barker's imagination, Doug Bradley's performance, and Saber Interactive's commitment to an unrestricted M rating. It looks like the emphasis is on raw body horror, psychological decay, cult violence, and the lethal power of the Genesis configuration. This one expands the canon with a new story that explores the labyrinth in greater depth than any previous adaptation. So let's dive right into what the Nightmare Playground is all about. Hellraiser Revival will throw you into the shoes of Aiden, a guy who makes one wrong move with a mysterious device called the Genesis configuration. The moment he touches it, things go downhill fast. He accidentally triggers a ritual that drags his girlfriend Sunny into the labyrinth. And trust me, this place does not do hospitality. Every wall, every shadow, every sound is part of a realm shaped by the Cenobites. And yes, guys, you heard this correctly. Doug Bradley is back as Pinhead. His lines cut through the story with the same cold precision that made him iconic. He watches you. He judges you. He reacts to how you use the Genesis configuration. This game does not treat Pinhead as a jump scare mascot. He sets the rules of the experience. He twists the pacing. He comments on your decisions. When you try to get clever with the box, he knows. Now let's talk Sunny. The cult that grabs her is not some random group of masked weirdos. These people want Cenobite power. They want transformation. They want pain as a pathway to ascension. Instead of being mindless enemies, they are believers with purpose. And the game makes that clear through their designs. Think ritual scars, grafted metal, ceremonial markings, and bodies reshaped by devotion. Everywhere Aiden goes, he finds traces of what they are doing to Sunny, and those clues fuel the entire story. The labyrinth itself is one of the stars here. And no, it is not just a collection of spooky hallways. Saber Interactive designed each region as a living structure. When you activate a mode of the Genesis configuration, hallways shift. Doors stretch or collapse. Floors pulse like muscle tissue. The whole environment reacts to your power choices. It feels like the maze is watching you, and honestly, it probably is. Speaking of powers, the Genesis configuration is like a puzzle device and a survival tool, and it hurts you when you push it too far. One stage boosts your physical strength, letting you send cultists flying with brutal strikes. Another lets you release chains that grab enemies, yank them apart, or hold them in place while you reposition. But the box drains health, stamina, and even Aiden's stability if you overuse it. You learn quickly that every power comes with a price. Earthly weapons do exist, and you only get them in rough condition. A rusty pipe, a chipped knife, a damaged revolver. They break fast. Ammo runs dry. You are pushed into close-quarters combat that feels grounded, violent, and desperate. The combat system channels the harsh, gritty energy of Condemned and the tight survival pacing of Resident Evil 7 and 8. Every encounter forces you to think before you swing. Let's talk Cenobites, because you know you are excited about that. The Cenobites you'll face have a unique specialty. One uses sound to disorient you. Another twists its own body to generate shockwaves that reshape the arena. These fights feel like ritual duels rather than boss battles. The level design wraps around their abilities, turning every confrontation into a puzzle as much as a fight. By the time you reach Pinhead himself, the game expects you to understand every stage of the Genesis box. And Pinhead gives you no forgiveness if you don't. As Aiden digs deeper into the labyrinth, he learns more about the true purpose of the Genesis configuration. The game reveals that this box is not simply another version of the Lament configuration. It is an experimental design with its own pain channel. That detail is huge for Hellraiser lore. Leviathan still dominates the labyrinth as the supreme force, but this box introduces a new kind of craftsmanship that could shift the entire balance of Cenobite rituals. Sunny's role evolves too. She is trapped, yes, but she is not passive. She sends messages through the maze. She leaves clues. She interferes with the cult's plans. Her choices influence how the Genesis configuration reacts to Aiden's actions. This keeps her directly tied to the pacing of the story and raises the stakes. The game constantly reminds you why Aiden is trying to survive the labyrinth in the first place. As you push through each region, the game showcases traps that reflect Cenobite engineering. Blade corridors rotate in patterns that require precision. Pressure cages collapse inward when handled incorrectly. Chain pits yank you into hidden chambers. Some traps unlock shortcuts. Some reveal lore. Others lead you into rooms filled with environmental storytelling, like abandoned ritual stages, failed ascension attempts, and early prototypes of puzzle boxes that never reached completion. Saber Interactive is very open about the mature content here. You will see torture, consensual mutilation, drug and alcohol abuse, domestic abuse references, suicidal themes, and scenes involving non-explicit sexual activity. This aligns with Clive Barker's original tone. Pain and desire sit side by side, not just physically but philosophically, and the game treats these themes with the same intensity the films once did. On the developer side, Saber Interactive is building Revival with full single-player focus. They have voice work, cinematics, and environmental design all aligned with Clive Barker's vision. Barker himself provides creative consultation. That involvement keeps the tone and lore consistent with the original mythology. Doug Bradley's presence locks the character of Pinhead into definitive form. Everything from the dialogue to the staging of scenes maintains Hellraiser's identity. The release plan targets fall 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC through Steam. You get full controller support, Steam Cloud, multiple subtitle and interface languages. The game is story-driven and tightly focused, which means no co-op or multiplayer distractions. It wants you alone in the dark with the box and the consequences of your decisions. The trailers released so far show that the team is prioritizing atmosphere. Lighting shifts as you manipulate the box. Characters look bruised, scarred, or stitched. Chains hang in impossible formations. Leviathan's influence bends structures into geometric patterns that radiate from the sky. Everything reinforces the central idea. Pain shapes the world. Desire reshapes the self. And the Genesis configuration is the doorway between both. When you put all of these pieces together, Hellraiser Revival becomes its own identity inside the franchise. It is not rebooting, retelling, or reimagining. It is expanding. It adds new components to the mythology. It restores the original style of Cenobite philosophy. And it gives horror players a chance to explore the labyrinth with a level of interactivity the films never could. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival positions itself as the next major expansion of the Hellraiser universe. The new story of Aiden, Sunny, and the Genesis configuration offers a grounded approach to Cenobite mythology while pushing survival horror into harsher territory. Saber Interactive's commitment to extreme body horror, psychological tension, and ritual-driven storytelling sets this game apart from typical genre releases. With Doug Bradley returning and Barker directly shaping the narrative tone, Revival sure stands ready to redefine what an M-rated horror game can depict.